Thank you. Frankfurt, how's it going? Good to be here, man. A little about myself. My name is Gus. I'm 33. These days, I live in the U.S., but I don't know if you can tell from my accent, but I am fat. Yeah, I've been trying to work. I've been going to the gym. I got a trainer at the gym, got some help losing weight, you know. The trainer was like, Gus, what are your goals at the gym? Do you want to bulk or do you want to cut? I was like, dude, I want to see my dick again, man. That's my main goal right now, okay? I want to bend over to tie my shoes and I'll be out of breath when I come up. He goes, if you want to lose weight, you got to change the way you eat. And recently I did. I became vegetarian for dessert. I figure if he's going to save a little pig's life, I'll stop putting bacon on my ice cream, okay? I used to tell this as a joke that a while back I went to that burger chain, Five Guys. And if you look at the menu there, you have the option of adding bacon to your milkshakes. And I saw that on the menu. I was like, that is so disgusting. And about 10 minutes later, I was like, that was delicious. Should be doing that more often. Let me take my hat off. This is what happens when you go to a Turkish barbershop and you don't speak Turkish. This is what happens. You go home, you shave your own head. That's what happens. I should have known it was going to be a bad haircut because I've been traveling for 6 weeks. I didn't know this barber, booked it online, and I showed up, and the barber was also bald. A bald barber has nothing to lose, dude. I used to live in Europe. I lived in Austria for 3 years. And when I lived there, the thing I missed the most about the U.S. was actually my barber back home. Because, you know, it's kind of hard to find a good barber when you live abroad. I had this great barber back home. Eric is his name. He's Russian, one of the good ones, I think. I don't know his politics. I just like him because he doesn't talk to me, you know. I go in, he's like, hello, sit down. And that's our whole interaction. And I like that about a barber, you know. I like not having to answer questions when a Russian guy has a razor blade to my neck. I appreciate that. So. But one time I was getting my hair cut with Eric, and I was like, Eric, I noticed there's some thinning going on up top. Would you happen to know like any home remedies from Russia to help me with my hair loss? And he went quiet for like 5 minutes, and eventually he turns around and he goes, okay, here's what you do. Take 12 raw eggs and 1 liter vodka. I was like, what the hell do I do with that? He goes, 12 raw eggs you eat. Raw egg have protein, protein makes hair grow. I was like, if that were true, the Turkish economy would collapse. But I'll try. I was like, what do you do with the vodka? He goes, oh, vodka you drink, it gets you drunk. You don't give a fuck about your hair when you're drunk. So it's good to be in Germany. I've never lived in Germany, but like I said, I lived in Austria, which was Germany for a while. And then they divorced, I guess. I don't know what happened. I lived in Vienna for 3 years. And people would always ask about culture shocks. You know, I think the biggest culture shock I had, I know it's a little cliche but about Austria, maybe even Germany, but the biggest culture shock I had coming from the U.S. to Vienna was the customer service. Yeah, the biggest difference between the American customer service and the one in Vienna is that in the U.S. We have it. One time I was walking around Vienna. They have a place called Karlsplatz. I wanted to get information for the museum they have there, right? But I didn't want to be the foreigner that assumes that people speak my language, you know, because I'm not French. So I went up to the window, go, excuse me, sir, can I speak English? And the Viennese guy working there goes, I know that I can speak English. I don't know if you can. I was like, I'll fuck off and go home. I don't need to be here, man. I should have tried to learn German. I tried to learn German, to be honest. I did. I got Duolingo Premium. And then after 2 weeks, I found out my passion was Spanish. I think the German language, it's like circumcision. You got to get it right when you're young. Otherwise, if you try to do it as an adult, it's just too painful. It's going to leave a scar, you know. It's better to just not do it, just apologize for the rest of your life, really. Mit Karte bitte, that's all you need. Just like a circumcision. But when I lived in Vienna, one of my best friends, he wanted to come to visit me one time. He goes, Gus, I want to visit you, but I don't want to do any of the touristy stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I want to experience Vienna the way a local experiences Vienna. I was like, oh, you want to go to work? I don't know if my job's hiring, but I'll ask, you know. He goes, no, man, I want to experience a weekend in Vienna the way you experience a weekend in Vienna. I was like, buddy, you don't have to fly overseas to come watch Netflix with me, okay? We can FaceTime, it's easier. I don't get when people say that kind of thing. One time I met a guy who goes, oh, I'm not a tourist, I'm a traveler. I was like, you are a douchebag, that's what you are. Just an annoying mobile piece of shit. He goes, no, man, you don't understand. When you travel, you gotta stay at a youth hostel, otherwise you don't get the full traveler's experience. I was like, yeah, maybe, but you know what else you don't get? Bed bugs. You don't get to smell a stranger's shit in the morning in the bathroom, and you don't get an Australian girl getting railed by a Dutch guy on the bunk on top of you, with a Japanese guy sitting right here watching. You know, because it's his first time seeing non-pixelated stacks in his life, so it's kind of thing you might miss out on, you know? I say do the touristy thing, you know? I say go to Paris, go see the Eiffel Tower, go to Rome, see the Colosseum, you know? Go to Amsterdam, get high, you know, buy a hooker, do whatever. Do the touristy stuff. I like Amsterdam. I like Amsterdam because they have the big attractions, the big known stuff, and then they have less known stuff that's also cool to explore. Last time I was over there, I went to the Hide and Seek Museum. Anybody ever been? I think the official name is the Anne Frank House, but all right, I was just seeing where the line is. Okay, we found it. We found the line, all right. No. Netherlands are cool, but I'll tell you what. Last tour I did, I was in the Netherlands for 2 weeks, and I'll tell you this: Dutch food is fucking terrible. You know how bad Dutch food is? After 5 days in the Netherlands, I went to a German restaurant. That's how desperate I was for flavor. Sauerkraut, good enough. Because, you know, if you go to a place with good food, you don't usually find a lot of German restaurants, you know? Like, if you go to Mexico, you don't find a lot of German restaurants. If you go to China, you don't find a lot of German restaurants. If you go to Argentina, actually, you might. I wonder what happened there. No, but I like drinking, man. I like drinking. It's one of my favorite things to do for fun. But every year, through the month of October, I do Sober October, not a drop of alcohol, the whole month of October. Then November 1st is my birthday, and I get back to drinking. Here's what I realized. For me, drinking alcohol, just like riding a bike. Yeah, because if I don't do it for a while, the first time I do it again, it's a lot of fun. But the next day I wake up and go, oh boy, why does my ass hurt so much? All right, that was more of a trauma dump than you. All right. No, I don't drink too much too often anymore. Last time it happened was about probably 5 years ago. I was down in Brazil visiting some friends, and it was at the end of the COVID restrictions, you know, so the bars were open, but they had to close at 9 p.m. Because you guys remember how COVID would come out at night, right? So we get to the bar at 5. And I'm drinking, and I'm pacing myself, thinking I'm going to be done by 9. And I accomplished my goal. I got pretty tipsy by the time the bar closed. But when the bar closed, my friend had this great idea to go to her house and continue drinking at her house. Here's how drunk I was, all right? We were driving over there. We stopped at a red light. I looked out the window. There was a billboard with the prize for the lottery for that week. And it said 150 million. And out loud, my drunk ass goes, oh, my God, gas is so expensive around here. That's before I started drinking whiskey, all right? I don't remember the next 4 hours of my life, completely blacked out. I just remember coming back to my consciousness. I was in the back seat of an Uber, don't know how I got there. Just remember thinking to myself, man, I think you have to throw up, but I think you can make it home. And about 12 seconds later, we went over a speed bump, and I was proven wrong. I projectile vomited inside the Uber. But look, guys, it was COVID, so I was wearing a mask, and yeah, it caught everything, so... If you're gonna ride drunk tonight, wear protection. And I'm not talking about the seatbelt, all right? Yeah, man. Comedy's fun, man. I love doing comedy, but financially it's not super lucrative right now. I love comedy, but I also love sleeping inside. So I've been job searching on LinkedIn. If you don't know LinkedIn, it's like Facebook for people who gave up on their dreams. Okay, it's a very sad place. I know that. because I'm on there and I am sad. I was on LinkedIn and I found out they have a thing called the one-click apply feature. Something you fill out your resume, put all information in there, then you can apply to a bunch of jobs with just one click. Which for me was great because I'm very lazy. So like the other day in 4 minutes I applied to 57 different jobs and 56 of which not even remotely qualified for. Like I applied to be the chief financial officer of Bank of America. Like, minimum experience requirement 25 years. I'm like, I'm 33, I got 8 extra, you know. I also applied to be the general manager of the Tokyo Zoo. And one click, who gives a shit, you know? And also, I've always wanted to know if zebras had black dicks or white dicks. I've been on a quest to find this out for years now. Nobody seems to know. Is it gray? Is it striped? Does it depend on which line the dick lines up with? Because that'd be a shame if you're a zebra born with a white dick and you're like, man, you know, another 2 centimeters. I would have had another 20 centimeters, fuck. All right, too much math, okay. My problem with job interviews, I'm not good. I think I'm a bit too honest. Apparently, snorting cocaine off of a stripper's ass is not the appropriate response to where do you see yourself in 5 years, so I am not moving to Tokyo, unfortunately, but now, I went back on LinkedIn recently and I found an article about the top skills that employers are looking for in 2026. And according to this article, the most important thing you have to have if you want to get hired this year is creativity, they claim. Creativity. And I thought about it for a minute, and it makes sense for some jobs. If it's like marketing, architecture, I think you want those people to be creative, you know. Other jobs, not so much, you know, like airplane pilots. I mean, maybe we stick to the fucking procedures, you know? Like, I don't want to walk into a plane and hear this. Welcome aboard, this is your captain speaking from the cockpit. Today we'll be starting a new company-wide creativity initiative. Therefore, we'll be attempting to land this plane backwards. That's a pretty bad day right there. To be honest with y'all, most of the times I feel like most of the times when the pilots come to the speaker to share some useless information, I think they're just lonely trying to find someone to talk to, you know? Because like they'll thank you for choosing to fly with them, you know? Here's your captain, I want to thank you for choosing to fly with us today. I'm like, man, this is a Ryanair flight. I did not choose to be here. I was trying to buy a Flixbus ticket. Somehow this was cheaper. I don't know how that's... All right, this joke, you guys are too rich for this joke, okay? They also love telling the location from where they're speaking from, you know? Here's your captain speaking from the cockpit. Bitch, I hope so. Like... I'll be really worried if you're anywhere else, you know? Here's your captain speaking from the bathroom in the back of the plane. Turns out having sushi from the Budapest airport. Not a good idea. Also, cockpit, kind of a weird name for a place on a plane, right? Cockpit is a good name for a gay bar, I think. What was the other option? The dick dungeon or... You know, a few years ago, I was doing a tour with my friends. The tour was called Make Austria Laugh. Pretty fucking hard, turns out. But it was a nice tour. We did like 6 cities in Austria, and the last one was in Vienna. It was a bigger show. And I did this joke about the cockpit. And a guy came up to me after the show. I was backstage with the comedians, and he's like, guys, Gus, a fan from the crowd wants to meet you. I was like, wow, I have a fan? That's cool. So I go to meet this guy. When I shake his hand, sir, thank you so much for coming out. The Austrian guy goes, well, actually, I was like, fuck. Here we go. He goes, well, actually, cockpit is only used for Boeing airplanes, and the other type of aircraft is called the flight deck. And then he turned around and left. That was one of my most Austrian experiences I've ever had. Hey, you guys are a lot of fun. Thank you so much.